Andrew, you're all over the place when I see your clips. You know, debate, fire, you know, you're making friends every day. I can tell you're a guy that likes to make new friends. And
very well loved.
Yeah, very well loved. And you had a very nice debate with a fellow who we had on the podcast as well, Daniel Hariraju. You guys went at it, and you were given a lot of stats that day.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of stats. And if the audience doesn't recognize it, we will show the clip here in a minute. But prior to going into, you know, the stuff that you're doing today, I want to learn more about your story, how you came up. Off camera, you were telling me about a couple other guys we were talking about. We don't need to mention their names, of how they came up, and I told you I know nothing about the gaming world. You told me how much I'm missing out and that I should consider getting into it. But tell me.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Tell me about how you got into the space.
By total accident. I never belonged there to begin with. I worked with my hands. I was a robotics mechanic. And I started as an industrial mechanic and then worked my way into being a robotics mechanic. And during the COVID-19 lockdowns, progressives who I just really hate. I mean, I really hate them. And I know I'm not supposed to. I know that that's bad. As a Christian, you're not supposed to hate people. I get that. But I really hate them. And so I would argue with them constantly on Facebook and these other, you know, like these other platforms. It's just a nobody. But they started having these little panels, some of them. You know, they'd have like little video panels. Everybody was bored because COVID was going on, you know. So I started crashing those panels. And that made its way over to YouTube. And then I started getting debates with, you know, people who I guess were big names. I didn't know who they were at the time. I didn't know who any of these people were. I didn't know anything about
You're
YouTube.
not from this place.
I didn't know anything about any of these people. I just knew that they were assholes. So, so I was happy to take them on.
So pre-COVID, you're not on YouTube. You're not on podcasts. Pre-COVID, you're doing nothing.
Yeah.
You're a robotics guy doing your thing, minding your own business.
Yep. I had no intention at all. If you would have asked me 5 years ago if I would be an entertainer who has one of the most super chatted channels in the United States, I would have laughed at you.
That is insane.
I would have laughed at you. Been like, no, I don't know anything about entertainment. I don't know anything about any of this. And here's what that should show you. What that should show you is that a person who just at the time had only a basic grasp of logic, just a basic grasp of logic. Now, I've since refined that very well. Right, it's part of my job. I take my job seriously. Was able to make those kinds of inroads. That's how bad discourse has fallen in the collective intelligence of people. It's bad.
Who were you in high school? 14, 15 years old. Who was Andrew Wilson?
You know, I moved around quite a bit. So I never got too firm of a footing anywhere. I was usually only in a place for maybe 3-4 years. I wouldn't say I was popular, but not unpopular. You know, just normal, just a normal guy.
Were you a math guy? Were you an athlete? Were you a 4.2 GPA? Were you?
I was more of a delinquent. Like
you were more than a delinquent.
It was more like cut school whenever I could.
Were you smoking? Were you the guy that would smoke pot and go and have theories? Like I had a friend of mine that would smoke a lot, and he was such an interesting guy to speak because he was brilliant. Were you that guy or
no? I was a different type. I was more like the cut school, have a cigarette, go over, hang out at the Burger King, anything I could do to avoid, formal school. I did. I knew then, I guess intuitively, that school was a waste of time. It was a complete and total waste of time for me.
Were you a reader? Were you somebody that was naturally like?
Oh yeah.
From what age did you start reading?
Oh, I started really early, so I was gifted in that category. So how it was explained to me was that people who are really, really, really good at math are often really terrible in the arena of reading and knowledge recall, and vice versa. I was never great at math, but I was always excellent with reading and comprehension and things like this. So, yeah, I just never had any problems in that domain.
Who was the male figure in your life?
My dad.
Your dad?
Yeah.
Tell me about your dad. What did your dad do?
He had a rough story. I don't know if I don't really talk about myself too much. It's just not my thing. But my dad, he was an entertainer. He grew up in the California area in Covina, and my grandfather, he was in the Army Air Corps in World War II. There was no Air Force at the time. He was in the Army Air Corps, and he got married young. My dad was the oldest of 4, and he was an entertainer in Covina. At 18, he was playing private clubs and things like this. He was a singer. And then Vietnam rolled around, and he got drafted. And he didn't want to go in the Army, so he joined the Air Force. And when he joined the Air Force, he went and he served, and he got back home, and he found out that his wife was, you know, fucking around on him. So that was pretty rough. And
That's not your mother. That's somebody else.
That's somebody else's mother.
Got it. Yeah.
But anyway,
what a mother, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, after that happened, he was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and told he was going to die. So he moved in with my grandparents and readied himself for the end. Essentially, he met.
How old is he at that time?
This time, I believe he is late 20s. And so he made a slight recovery, kind of a rally, and he met my mom, and they got married fairly quickly within a year or two. And luckily, she was a nurse, and she's been taking care of him ever since.
They're still together.
Oh yeah,
good for him.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
And so, what did he do after entertainment? Because I know West Covina, but what did he do after entertainment?
He had basically odd jobs. He stayed at home with us. My mom worked because he was very sick, and so he stayed at home and took care of the kids. That was what he did.
The other way around.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, he had to. He was too sick to work.
So, but you said he's your male figure that you looked up to. So, how did he raise you? What did he teach you? Did he teach you toughness? Was it mental? Was it reading?
He taught me something much more important than all of that, which was how to think. More than anything else, it was how to think. It was what he taught me early on was most people, the things that they say, they have no justification for any of the things they say, and most of them are just repeating something somebody else said. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you realize how you can get...
What a powerful thing to say.
Yeah, you'll realize how to get to the truth.
Wow.
How you get to the truth of everything quickly.
So what was his opinion on how to do that? His
opinion on how to do that was to ask him, how do you know that? How do you, and where did you learn that? How do you actually know that that is the case?
Was he a Scientologist or was he a Christian?
He was a Christian.
He was a Christian.
Yeah.
Because that's what they teach in Scientology.
Oh.
In Scientology, one of the first things they teach you is when somebody says something, it's how do you know that? Let's go look up the exact definition. What is the true meaning of that? To want to get to the bottom of the source. But that's
he wasn't. Not a Scientologist at all. He was a guy who was taught from a different era how to think. He was an old man for his time. Let's say, he was a product of the 40s essentially. And yeah, he knew how to think, and he still knows how to think. He's still alive. And, even though they gave him a toe tag with multiple sclerosis, said you're going to die, he beat all odds. But that's what he taught me. That's what he taught all of us.
What's your age difference between the two, you and your father? How old was he when you were born?
I don't know. I'd have to think about it. I'm not sure. Let's see.
My dad was 37.
He was born in 40... I want to say 42.
So he's 83. My dad's also 1942.
Yeah.
What month's his birthday?
His is in July.
Okay, mine's April 10th. Interesting. So how old are you?
I'm 41.
You're 41. So then 30-ish when you were born. So wasn't an older father. It was a younger father. Relatively, the age that you go through.
Well, I don't mean old as in physically old. I mean... His mind was trained.
Totally get it.
Yeah, his mind was trained by somebody from an older generation,
which is your grandfather,
which was my grandfather.
Now, was it like if your father was? We went to dinner tonight, and your father's with us. Is he a debate guy? Is he a guy that'll sit there quietly? Does he push back? Does he argue? Is he argumentative?
He's not this. No, he's
agreeable.
He's not the same way I am at all. My dad has a very commanding presence. So, and he's extraordinarily likable. What happens, you go out to dinner with him, you sit down, and within 5 minutes, you want to hear everything he's ever had to say about everything. That's the type of guy he is, the type of guy he's always been. He's a very, very respectable guy and a very respectable guy.
How many of you guys? How many kids did your mom and him have?
He had 2 with my mom. My mom had 2 children from a previous marriage, and then he had 3 from his first marriage.
7 total. Okay. So 2, it's from same mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
And are you guys 7 close to each other?
Not really. The ones I was immediately raised with, we are. The 4 of us, which would be my mom's 2 children from her previous marriage. and we were raised so closely together. I actually didn't even realize that we were half brother and half sister. It had to be explained to me that
means they did a great job.
Yeah, it had to be explained to me, but when I was 10 or 12, and I still didn't really get it.
Yeah.
I just didn't think of it that way.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So is there a common pattern between the 4 kids that were raised by your father and mother? Like, is there a common thread that somebody would notice on mindset, on, values, on certain principles?
They don't take no shit from nobody.
None of them?
None of them.
So is your dad from Covina, or did your grandpa move from somewhere else to Covina, or was he also
He was raised in Covina.
So your grandpa's also Covina?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay, so don't take shit from nobody.
Nah, it doesn't take any shit from anybody. But also, all of them can comprehensively think. That's the most important part. They don't have presuppositional thinking. Instead, all of us were taught how to get to the heart of an issue very quickly by having this precept understanding that most people, the things that they say, are actually untrue. And they did not come to those thoughts on their own. They came to those thoughts because somebody else gave them to them. Most people can't control their thinking. They don't know how. That's something you've learned. That's not something you're born with. Mm-hmm. Most people, they don't think their own thoughts. And most of the thoughts that are in their head are put in their head from some other source. Very rarely do you find that people came to a position on their own. It's actually very rare.
So one would argue that and say you came to the positions you have if your parents are Christians. It is true what you're saying is traditionally we will do what our parents will believe in because of values, respect, honor, comfort, certain thing that we recognize, we see. So how do you view yourself as somebody that is that you question things to get to the bottom of it? How do you know that you're actually doing it yourself?
By eliminating presupposition and using logic. Logic has laws, governing laws. And when you eliminate presupposition, you get to the standard of why it is that you have a position. You realize most positions you have are completely unjustified.
Give me a case. Give me an idea. Like, you have a lot of topics that you guys talk about. So pick one and just go through it.
Let me give you a case.
Please.
Okay. Why would it be that incest is wrong?
Why would it be that incest is wrong?
Let's say you had 2 brothers. They're twin brothers.
Yes.
And they're in an incestuous relationship.
Okay.
Why is that actually wrong?
Well, if I go get data and data shows me...
Data has to be interpreted.
Data has to be interpreted.
And so even if you interpret that it has bad outcomes, so what? All relationships have the potential for bad outcomes. What makes it actually wrong?
Tell me.
No, you tell me.
You're asking me the question.
I'm asking you the question.
I go in 2 places. I go one logic. I go one values and principles.
Okay, well, logically.
Then logically, I would go get the data. If I go get the data and the data shows me that incest produces better high IQ, safer communities, job creators, independent, crime is low, incredible society, great inventions, great innovations, then I would say maybe we ought to entertain it.
Okay, but what if it's the case that data shows the opposite of that, but there's just one case. It's just one case of twin brothers doing it. That's it. Just those guys. Is that wrong? Is that wrong of them to do it?
And the data of one twin brother's doing it.
Yeah. You got one set of twin brothers are doing this. Nobody else in the community is. What makes that actually wrong? From
data standpoint, that's a different story. From the value standpoint, I would go to spiritual, a denomination, non-denominational Christian, and according to my values and principles, that is not the right way to live.
And that's why, sir, I hate the left. You just mapped it out perfectly. This is exactly why I hate leftists with every fiber of my being.
Tell me why.
Because what you just gave me was an attempt at an epistemic justification, right? The knowledge for why this thing is wrong is based on the value set that I have, which I'm going to try to spiritually justify, right? The leftists can't do that. Why? Because they're atheistic by nature and they're cynics by nature as well. They can never give you a justification for why something like that's wrong. So when you ask them a question like that in a debate, they just bite the bullet. It's not wrong.
Without needing to give an argument.
They don't need to give an argument. They just don't think it's wrong. It isn't wrong.
Okay.
My name is Andrew Wilson, host of the Crucible. As you guys know, I'm a political analyst and a political satirist. If you want to talk directly with me, as many of my audience have requested that they be able to do, I've been able to carve out a system on this platform, Connect, in order to do that with you. That's on Connect. You can ask me whatever questions that you want. We can talk debate. We can talk strategy. We can talk about basically whatever it is that you've been wanting to talk with me about. And I hope to see all of you there.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.